The ocean is not just a body of water anymore. It is a highway for gods. And right now, a god known as Titan X is booking it toward a collision course with humanity. But as Outpost 18 races to stop a global disaster, the real nightmare isn't just the giant creature in the deep. It is the small, clicking, and hungry offspring hidden in the vents of the ship. Today, we break down why the Monsterverse just took a terrifying turn into horror. The following is an in-depth, long-form breakdown of Monarch, Legacy of Monsters Season 2, Episode 2, titled Resonance. This contains heavy spoilers for the episode. You have been warned. Welcome back. After a titanic season premiere that brought us back to Skull Island and reintroduced us to Kong, the second episode of Monarch, Legacy of Monsters slows down just enough to let the dread sink in. Titled Resonance, this hour shifts the focus away from the chaotic escape of Axis Mundi and onto the immediate consequences of bringing Titan X into our world. Today, we are analyzing the changing of the guard at Monarch, the heavy psychological toll on Cate, and the haunting Lovecraftian rituals of 1957 Santa Soledad. We will also look at how this episode pays homage to the horror roots of the franchise, turning a sci-fi series into a claustrophobic thriller. Let's dive into the deep. The episode begins in the immediate wake of tragedy. Natalie Verdugo is dead, and the Monarch hierarchy is in shambles. As the helicopters escape the shadow of Skull Island, the weight of command falls onto the most unlikely shoulders. Tim. For a character who has evolved significantly since Season 1, this is a massive turning point. Tim represents the new Monarch, a man who balances the organization's original mission of research with the modern need for defense. However, his cautious, measured leadership is immediately challenged. Lee Shaw, fresh out of Axis Mundi, is not a man who waits for permission. The friction between Tim's bureaucratic caution and Lee Shaw's gung-ho attitude creates a secondary battleground within the walls of Outpost 18. While the leaders debate strategy, Cate is fighting a private war. The article highlights that Cate is now carrying the overwhelming weight of main character syndrome in the form of intense guilt. She opened the portal. She brought Lee Shaw back. And in doing so, she believes she is the one directly responsible for the death of Verdugo and the release of Titan X. This episode explores her PTSD in a raw way. We see her struggle to process the fact that her survival came at such a high cost. Even as Hiroshi and Kentaro argue, Cate remains isolated in her self-loathing, a narrative thread that the show uses to ground the massive scale of the Titans in human emotion. Our journey into the past takes us back to Santa Soledad, Chile. Following the previous night's events, Bill Randa, played by Anders Holm, emerges from a cave with a discovery that changes the mission. He has found a map. This isn't just a map of the island. He believes it is the migratory blueprint for Titan X. In a pivotal moment of divide and conquer, Bill Randa decides to leave the group to follow the map's trail. This leaves Keiko and Lee Shaw alone on the island, heightening the tension between them. The locals, led by a woman named Lucia, are hospitable but ominous. They explain that the presence of outsiders like Keiko and Lee Shaw is seen as a curse that keeps the fish away. It sets a Wicker Man tone that permeates the entire flashback. One of the most effective sequences in Resonance takes place within the claustrophobic corridors of Outpost 18. While the ship pursues Titan X toward the Strait of Malacca, Cate discovers they have a stowaway. An orbling, also referred to as a scarab, has snuck on board. The article compares this sequence to the original Alien, and for good reason. The way the creature shuffles through the halls, waiting for the perfect moment to strike, shifts the show's genre into pure horror. Cate, paralyzed by the situation, almost forgets how her tools work until Kentaro arrives. The use of a flare gun and a fire extinguisher to combat a small, skittering monster provides a visceral, tactile sense of danger that giant kaiju battles often lack. As we peel back the layers of the Monsterverse secret history, we invite you to join our search for the truth. If you want to stay updated on every Monarch secret and every Godzilla sighting, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. It helps us keep the lights on here at the Outpost. The core conflict of the present-day storyline is a ticking clock. Titan X is heading for major shipping lanes. To prevent a massacre, The crew of Outpost 18 attempts to use an infrasonic signal to lure the beast away. They modify an onboard drone to emit a sound that mimics the Titan's own communication. However, things go south quickly. Lee Shaw, frustrated by the drone's lack of reach, tries to force it lower. The result? The drone crashes, but the mission is saved by an unexpected resonance. The orbling that Kentaro and Cate were fighting emits its own distress signal. This signal is what truly catches the attention of Titan X. It reveals a critical piece of lore. Titan X isn't just a mindless predator. It is a protector of its offspring. Returning to 1957, the atmosphere at the village festival becomes increasingly surreal. Keiko and Lee Shaw find themselves drawn into a trance. The article notes the creepy atmosphere, the chanting, the dancing, and the mysterious black markings around the eyes of the villagers. In this state of altered reality, Keiko and Lee Shaw share a kiss, a moment where their long-simmering feelings finally boil over. But the romance is shattered when they realize the true purpose of the gathering. The indigenous population worships Titan X under the name Cocai. They watch in horror as a man performs a ritual with the blood of an orbling, dabbing the viscous liquid onto Lucia's forehead. It is a chilling reminder that humans have been living in the shadow of these monsters for centuries. In a standout action sequence that evokes the scale of the big-screen Monsterverse films, Lee Shaw takes a massive risk. With the orbling captured, he boards a speedboat and heads out into the open water. He knows Titan X is coming for its young. This scene highlights the badass nature of Kurt Russell's portrayal of Lee Shaw. He uses himself and the small creature as bait to lead the Titan away from the Strait of Malacca. The sheer bulk of Titan X, described as dwarfing whales like bath toys, creates a terrifying visual as it pursues the tiny boat. At the last possible second, Lee Shaw releases the orbling into the sea. The Titan, having retrieved what it came for, leaves the humans alone, proving it does not attack unsolicited. The article makes a brilliant point about the origin of these creatures. While we often see Godzilla or Kong as spectacle, they began in the realm of horror. Resonance embraces these roots. Whether it's the Lovecraftian cult vibes of the village or the facehugger tension of the scarabs, the show is finding new ways to make the Titans scary again. This episode suggests that the Monsterverse is moving away from just monster versus monster and toward a more intimate, human-centric fear. The fact that a Titan can be summoned by a ritual or tracked by a prehistoric map adds a layer of mysticism that deepens the entire franchise. While the episode succeeds in many areas, the article points out a few growing pains. With the majority of the cast now cooped up on one ship, characters like Mei, Hiroshi, and Kentaro are struggling for screen time. Mei, in particular, is described as dangerously extraneous at this point. The narrative challenge for the rest of Season 2 will be finding meaningful roles for these characters while Lee Shaw, Keiko, and Cate dominate the emotional and action-heavy arcs. However, the chemistry between Tim and Lee Shaw shows great promise for future episodes. Monarch, Legacy of Monsters Season 2, Episode 2, is a masterclass in building tension. By focusing on a single Titan and the resonance it has with its offspring, the show has established a high-stakes disaster movie feel. We leave this episode with Titan X, or Cocai, rising from the water in the past and disappearing into the depths in the present. The groundwork has been laid, the migratory route is set, and Monarch is finally beginning to understand the creatures they've been chasing for decades. That's our full breakdown of Resonance. Do you think Lee Shaw's gung-ho attitude will eventually lead to Monarch's downfall? And what do you make of the Cocai ritual? Let us know in the comments below. Be sure to like, subscribe, and keep your eyes on the horizon. We'll see you in the next breakdown.